Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tevaron here, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week, we are going to be looking at my take on Abzan control in the new meta. I'm going to go through the deck list here and try to do an adequate job of explaining my choices. Not promising anything, but here we go. We are running 2 Oath of Nissa. This is a great card for card selection. It's not actually card advantage because it doesn't draw you extra cards, but it does replace itself. When Oath of Nissa enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature, land, or planeswalker card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Also, an added pseudo bonus here is you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast planeswalker spells. Now, we're not running a huge number of planeswalkers, so that's not super relevant for us, though it can be at times. 2 Sylvan Advocates. I played a lot of Mardu Green pre-rotation in Standard, and I fell in love with these guys, along with a few other cards that I'm including in this deck. This guy is a 2-mana, 2/3 Vigilance, and if you have 6 or more lands, Sylvan Advocate gets +2/+2, and land creatures you control also get +2/+2. And that can stack. If you have both of these guys out, your land creatures will get +4/+4. 3 Sylvan Ranger for mana fixing. 2 Eiley, Eternal Pilgrim. She's just a great 2-drop. She's Death Touch. 2/3. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature. You gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. For a white, a black, and 1 of any color. Sacrifice another creature. Exile target non-land permanent, but you can only activate this ability if you have at least 10 life more than your starting life total. This ability has never been relevant for me, though I could see certain circumstances where it could be. Otherwise, she's a 2-mana, 2/3 with Death Touch that can gain you a bit of life. 1 Gideon's Reproach. Just cut these down from 2. Gideon's Reproach is 2 mana to deal 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. That's in there to kind of diversify our removal suite. We're also running 2 Celestial Flare. Target player sacrifices an attacking or blocking creature. 2 Grasp of Darkness. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. 2 Declaration in Stone, which continues to be, in my mind, the best removal in the format, both in Standard and in Duels. For 2 mana, you exile target creature and all other creatures its controller controls with the same name as that creature. That player investigates for each non-token creature exiled this way. 1 Nissa Vastwood Seer. She fetches you a forest when she enters the battlefield, and then if you play a land and there's at least 7 lands on the battlefield at that point, she flips into Nissa Sage Animist, who can draw you cards, make a 4/4 legendary elemental, or if you manage to ultimate her, pretty much win you the game. 1 Pulse of Murasa. This is another card that I grew super fond of in Mardu Green. For 3 mana, you return target creature or land card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. Hopefully, the card we're returning is ours, and we gain 6 life. This combos really well with another card in the deck, which you shall see later on, but otherwise it's life gain and getting back the best creature at the most opportune time. It helps a great deal that it is an instant. 2 Anguished Unmaking. Despite the fact that I wish that they had just reprinted Utter End, even though it's 1 more mana, that 3 life can be very relevant. I think that you need to run these, especially since a lot of the duels meta in the upper ranks, rank 30 and above, are running 3 and 4 color planeswalker decks. You need answers to those planeswalkers, and Anguished Unmaking is just the best one. 1 Kalitas, Trader of Get. Once again, going with cards from Mardu Green. Kalitas is a great creature in a control build. He is 4 mana for a 3/4 lifelink. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. And lo and behold, Kalitas may spend a black and 2 to sacrifice another vampire or zombie and put 2+1/+1 counters on him, therefore growing his body and his life gain potential. 2 Woodland Wanderer, because there's not much better in the 4 mana slot to give you a huge body. He's Vigilance and Trample. Converge for each color you spend when casting him. He gets a +1/+1 counter. In this deck, he's never going to be bigger than a 5/5, but 5/5 Vigilance Trample for 4 is pretty good. We're running 2 Languish. All creatures get -4/-4 till end of turn. Wiping the board is very important. We're running 1 Gideon, ally of Zendikar, who can make 2/2 white knight ally creatures, who can make a +1/+1 Anthem emblem, or become a 5/5 soldier with Indestructible till end of turn. 1 Archangel Avacyn, because we're playing white control, and we would be silly not to play Archangel Avacyn, who is 5 mana 4/4, flash, flying, vigilance. When Archangel Avacyn enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain Indestructible till end of turn, and if a non-angel creature you control dies, transform her at the beginning of the next upkeep to Avacyn the Purifier, who is a 6/5 flyer, and when it transforms into the Purifier, it deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. Pretty good. That's an understatement. 2 Planar Outburst. As the rest of our mass removal suite for 5 mana, we are going to destroy all non-land creatures, and we can awaken it for 8 and put 4+1/+1 counters on a land we control, and it becomes a 0/0 elemental. Ostensibly, it will be a 4/4 because of the counters. But Nyxlis Reignited. For 5 mana, we get a Planeswalker who can draw us a card and have us lose a life, destroy a creature, and if we manage to ultimate him, which I think I've only done once ever, we give our opponent an emblem that says whenever a player draws a card, they lose 2 life. 1 Linvala the Preserver. 6 mana for a 5/5 flyer. When she enters the battlefield, if an opponent has more life than us, we gain 5 life. When she enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more creatures than us, we get a 3/3 flying angel along with her. She's pretty good at catching you back up when you're behind. 1 Green Warden of Marasa, and this is the guy that I was alluding to that combos great with Pulse of Marasa, especially if you happen to have a Salk outlet out there, such as Eiley. You can chain Green Wardens and Pulses all day long and gain tons and tons of life while having huge blockers on board. When he enters the battlefield, you return a card from your graveyard to your hand. When he dies, you can exile him and return another card from your graveyard to your hand. And wonderfully, this exile effect now works. You actually get the card back, so that's good. Though they did break a whole lot more. 1 Ulvenwald Hydra, a 6 mana star creature with reach. These stars are equal to the number of lands that you control. And when he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land and put it onto the battlefield tapped. And last but certainly not least, Sorin, Grim Nemesis, who lets you draw cards, and then each opponent loses life equal to its converted mana cost. He can -X to deal X damage to a creature or planeswalker and have us gain X life. And his ultimate, which again I have never managed to pull off, is -9 and put a number of 1/1 black vampire knight creature tokens with a lifelink onto the battlefield equal to the highest life total among all players, which will probably win you the game if your opponent doesn't have mass removal. The mana base is as follows: 4 plains, 3 swamps, 3 forests, 2 Hissing Quagmire, 2 Shambling Vents, 2 Canopy Vista, 2 Woodland Cemetery, 2 Isolated Chapel, 2 Canopy Vista, going back over those again, 2 Sun Petal Grove, and 4 Evolving Wilds for a total of 26 land. So let's go in and grind. This is a very awkward hand. I'm not going to keep it. It is not good. Draw new, please. This is better. Let's keep this. I will apologize ahead of time if there are any sniffles or throat clearings or coughs or whatnot that I managed to miss while editing. I do apologize. I'm still a bit under the weather. Went back to the doctor yesterday and got put on yet another course of antibiotics and cough medication and other things. So hopefully that will at last knock this out. They scheduled me another appointment for a follow-up next week because finally they are pretty serious about getting me over this, which thrills me to no end, I can tell you that. Looks like our opponent is playing blue-red, possibly a prowess / thing in the ice deck. Let's go ahead and drop a forest here. That way our woodland cemetery will come into play untapped next turn. Maybe ought to have played the plains so that we could Celestial Flare a potential Storm Chaser Mage if they cast it, as that has haste. Fortunately, they did not cast such a thing. Got this Jessen Thief out there, so we'll probably need to deal with that. We'll go ahead and play a plains this turn and pass back. I imagine we'll go ahead and Celestial Flare that Thief this turn so that our opponent will not get the card draw from it. If we can survive a few more turns to get into our mid to late game, we have a pretty good hand to stabilize the board. We'll go ahead and pause and cast Celestial Flare on our opponent. Hopefully they don't have a counter spell. And that would be bad for us. They would save their creature and pump it up as it has prowess. Looks like it's going to resolve though. Good for us. Alright, there's Esperzoa. Got some noise going on outside at the moment. Again, I apologize if that comes through. This may not be the most opportune time to record, but it's a time when I actually feel like doing it a bit. So that's what we're doing. Let's see. What do we want to play? I suppose we want to go ahead and play our cemetery to get a second black source out. I would love to be able to play Kalitas and kill that thing. However, Kalitas and Declaration don't play well together that way, and we don't have the mana to do it in any event. So I think we're going to go ahead and Declaration this thing while we have the opportunity. Our opponent does get a clue, but that's not the worst thing in the world. Still need to top deck at least one more mana to start playing our 6 mana threats. We have the 5th in our hand. Barring anything else, we will be playing Kalitas next turn. Thopter Spy Network is an issue. They definitely have artifacts to make Thopters appear turn after turn on their side. Well, about all we can do is deploy Kalitas. At least if he survives, he provides us with some life gain so that we can race the opponent. Hopefully we will top deck a land that comes into play untapped and get our Uvenwald Hydra going next turn. The reach will be invaluable in holding off these Thopters. Alright, there's another vial from the opponent. Do expect our opponent to start using those eventually to either keep us from attacking or keep us from blocking so that they can get the draws from the artifact creatures hitting us through Thopter Spy Network there. Well, we did not draw a land. We did get a Woodland Wanderer, though. Let's go ahead and go to attacks and see what our opponent wishes to do. Nothing, so we will see if we can gain 3 life here. Okay, looks like that is going to happen. So that at least is pretty good for us. Now we can either play Woodland Wanderer or hold up Celestial Flare to keep our opponent from drawing cards. I think at this point it's probably more important to just get a bunch of huge threats out and beat our opponent down before they can do that to us. Maybe getting countered here. Or not. Okay. Well, something's going on because the opponent keeps pausing. Maybe a bounce spell of some sort, or they want to sack this clue to draw. There has been times while playtesting and fooling around with this deck, they did sacrifice the clue, that I have felt the need of maybe going up to a 27th land. I just don't at this moment know what I would cut to do that, as I'm not running any sort of real ramp. I don't think you can consider Sylvan Rangers ramp, though they do fix your mana. Alright, so Kalitas is dying to the Reclusive Artificer. Goodbye, Kalitas. You may be coming back shortly via Pulse of Marasa. We'll see. And the opponent continues to make land drops. Wish we could as well. Alright, here comes the team. Don't know why you're swinging with the Artificer, but I will block it. You don't have Spell Mastery to kill it with a Fiery Impulse. Oh, you've run Titan Strength in this deck. That is, I mean, you know, to each their own, I suppose, but that is weird to me. Of course, I guess this isn't actually a Thopter's deck, because you do have some prowess stuff in there. It's just an amalgam of a lot of blue and red strategies, it looks like. Well, we'll see how that works out. There's Ob. Really, at this point, needing a land. So let's go ahead and play Arb. Our life total is not in horrible shape at the moment. We're going to go ahead and draw. And there's a land. Good. Still would not mind drawing another land next turn on our draw phase. Unfortunately, our opponent may just pull away from us here via card advantage from the Thopter Spy Network. And as this game is played out, there's not a lot that we could do about that. Disperse, so bouncing Ob. Okay. That's not a huge deal, I don't think. I mean, no more than anything else that's going on. That's a huge deal, though. And now I would very much like to draw a Languish or a Planar Outburst. So let's take 4, and then the opponent gets to draw a card on top of that. Did forget to mention that I have managed to grind up to where we are at the upper ranks here. So we should be playing against people who are a bit more competitive than we have in earlier episodes of this season. Ooh, now there is an answer to Thopter Spy Network. The question is, can we afford to play that, lose the 3 life, and still get beat down for 8? And that would put us to 6 minimum. I actually think that the best thing here may be just to go ahead and play the Hydra to get some blocking going on, hopefully, barring shenanigans from the opponent. Will serve to advance our mana as well. Alright, let's go ahead and get a, if I can find one. I didn't think they were both out there. Maybe they are. Have I played both? Oh, no, there's one. There's a shambling vent. Okay, we did play one. Thought there was one left in there. That life gain may be very important to us if we can keep surviving here. Even with the Hydra, though, our opponent can sacrifice that Alchemist Vial to make him unblockable. Looks like he's killing him, though, with the Reclusive Artificer. And now we very much need to draw a sweeper, or we are just going to lose. 10 damage coming our way. We can do minimum 12 next turn. 6 will gain us to 13, so the 6 life gain from the pulse if we were to do that. So theoretically we are not completely dead in the water here. However, we're mostly dead if we don't manage to clear the board this turn. Okay, that is not a sweeper. What have we got? Alright, we have 7 mana, so we can recur and play Kalitas, which is probably our best bet to actually survive another turn here. So let's do that. We will recur the... Wait. Make sure we are leaving enough black open to cast it. We are. Okay. Recur Kalitas. Confirm. Would love to know if our opponent is actually playing counterspells. Alright. Deploy the Trader of Get. And our Evolving Wilds, we'll go ahead and sack that sucker. Oh, they have paused again. Sack that sucker. Sorry, my voice kind of went out there for a second. And I guess we will go ahead and get another Plains. Any damage at all finishes us off here. Disperse really doesn't affect that. You had the Alchemist Vial in play to keep Kalitas from blocking as it was. Thopter Engineer does it. Twin Bolt, just about anything kills us here. And that will do it. I'll go ahead and let them swing for the win. Thopter Engineer will give all the artifacts haste, and we will die horribly, horribly to a swarm of Thopters. And the opponent thinks they need to overkill us. Well, hopefully we will do a bit better in the next game. I have been having quite a bit of success with this deck. Hopefully the camera recording here is not jinxing the whole process, but we shall see. We shall see. See you in the next one. I think this hand is a bit slow, but probably keepable, so we're going to give it a try. And it may be a mistake, but that's what we're going to do. Right, we will fetch here. And we're going to get a second black source. We will need that for Languish and Kalitas. We will need a second white source at some point for Archangel Avacyn. Luckily, the opponent leads off with not a lot of things going on. We'll drop our other swamp there. That way our Canopy Vista will come into play untapped next turn. Now we just need to draw a few more manas. Alright, there's an elf. They may just be playing elves. Although Thornbow Archer is a good aggressive creature in its own right. It does 2 damage. If your opponent doesn't have an elf. When it attacks, it drains them for 1. I'll get it out eventually with the right words. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get a plains here. Our opponent does not yet know that we have green in the deck. Neither does our hand, other than that Canopy Vista. Looks like we're going to be taking 2 here. Drain for not having an elf, and then 1 from the archer itself. Now, it looks like it is elves. Cool. Well, the question is here, do we sweep the board of 3 elves or try to get them to overextend a little bit more? And I am going to see, we would take 5 next turn, going to 13. I think that we're going to let them overextend a bit more. We will go ahead and get a forest now. And hopefully our opponent will drop a few more elves onto the battlefield to die to Languish. Well, that will do as well. Though we are taking 3 more damage than I had anticipated. So we should be going to 10 here. Hopefully Kalitas and Sorin combination will stabilize our life total a bit. Let's go ahead and sweep. And I would very much like to draw 1 more untapped land next turn. Ooh, Lies Alana Huntmaster is a bit of an issue. Potentially. Not so much now. So let's go ahead and declare Lies Alana, because these tokens she generates can get out of hand quickly. Let's see what else the opponent can muster. Sylvan Ranger, okay. And barring nothing else to cast from hand, they do have the mana to crack that clue to draw a card, which is what it appears they are going to do here. Alright, well that's not a usable land at present, but let's go ahead and drop Kalitas. And we'll play our wilds and sacrifice it. I think we will go ahead and get another plains. Now we have mana to cast any of the cards in our hand. And we could cast 2 if the 2 are Woodland Wanderer and Celestial Flare. Alright, another Elf Lord there. We may have to dispatch that with Sorin, earning ourselves a Zambi in the process, which sounds rather nice to me. So let's do that. We will minus Sorin for 4, not 5, 4, targeting the Elf Lord there. And our opponent has had enough. So we will say goodbye and on to the next game. Okay, well, our hand is pretty slow. Let's see if we can do a bit better. That's better. Keep that. So we will fetch for a forest. Then second turn we can play the plains and play Sylvan Advocate. Hello, Anguished Unmaking. Fancy seeing you here. Yep, forest, please. As much as I would like to get the Shambling Vent into play, I think getting the 2-drop down is... Okay, then. Let's continue playing. That's a bit early for a concession. Go ahead and deploy Sylvan Advocate. Though I did guess that they did mulligan to 5, it looks like. I hadn't even noticed that. And stuck on 1 mana. Okay, then. Well, I guess we will go on to the next one, friends. Sorry about that. Okay. I think this is a keepable hand. Oops, sorry. Oh, well, I guess we have to wait. There we go. Okay. Lead off on Oath of Nissa here. Probably looking for a land, unless we can find a 2-drop. And we didn't, so I suppose we will be taking the Sun Petal Grove. Puts us 1 mana away from both Planar Outburst and Ob, although Ob is going to require us to get a second black source. Ooh, a Sledge Crawler. So we are playing against something aggressive here. Don't know if I want to... Well, I definitely don't want to waste a Declaration in Stone on it now. So we'll play Sylvan Advocate. Playing the plains there so that I can play Isolated Chapel next turn and get our black mana online. Alright, so possibly a Devoid deck, maybe running some Eldrazi here, judging by the Foundry. Alright, let's go ahead and attack. Love the Vigilance on Sylvan Advocate, playing offense and defense at the same time. We did get lucky enough to top deck another Isolated Chapel, so Ob Nixilis will be coming down. Turn 5, if we're not having to Planar Outburst or something else. Dominator Drone, okay. We may want to declare that in stone. I don't foresee the opponent attacking, though they are sitting there in their attack phase. Okay. Decides to move along. And I think we will indeed be casting Declaration on this drone here, so that we can continue our offense. Attack there, thank you. I will play the Sun Petal Grove post-combat to hide the fact that we do have 2 black mana. Bearer of Silence. Okay, so we're going to be sacrificing this Sylvan Advocate here. And that may make it to where I want to cast Planar Outburst on our next turn instead of Ob Nixilis. I can do 5. I can tick Ob up to 6, which would keep him from dying, and then our opponent may overextend. Oh, it's kind of sad to see Linvala get exiled there. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll play Ob Nixilis and tick him up. then maybe we'll be able to get a bit more of our opponent's board on a wipe next turn with Planar Outburst. Because what they've got on board right now is not enough to kill Ob with. They can put this guy up to a 3-3, which is 5 damage total. Though they could have something in hand that would get the job done. Now going at Ob Nixilis. Looks like they are just going to pump the Sludge Crawler. At least that would be my guess. Or not. Oh, there we go. Okay, 2 pumps, that's fine. Ob will go to 1. So we're not going to get another creature with our outburst, but we do have Ob on board, and he can continue to draw us cards here. Which he will do. Ooh, Pulse of Marasa. Quite nice. Alright, Planar Outburst. And Hissing Quagmire. Yeah. Pulse on Sylvan Advocate is pretty tempting here. Especially since we can, after that, cast Green Warden and get Pulse back. Essence Depleter. That's the one you can pay mana and drain one? Yep. Okay. Plus Sludge Crawler. Alright. Well, hello, Eiley. Let's draw another card here. Okay. So, let's Pulse back Advocate. Then we'll cast Eiley. Play a Forest. And cast Advocate. Good deal. An Advocate is large. Titan's Presence, okay. That exiles, right? Yes. Revealing Reality Smasher, alright. Well, goodbye, Sylvan Advocate. But you're not able to profitably swing at Ob at this point, so that's okay, I suppose. Okay, well, let's draw. Hello, Second Advocate. Play Shambling Vent. Then we'll play Green Warden. We know our opponent has a Reality Smasher in hand. And we'll get back Pulse. Yes, please. And we're going to skip attacking for the moment. Opponent still needs one more land to cast Reality Smasher. Not for Spatial Contortion, though. We'll let that happen. Okay, Kalitas. Well, let's draw a card first, shall we? Hello, Second Eiley. Guess we'll play a land here. And Advocate. And activate. Shambling Vent. Yes. Sacking the clue, okay. And go to combat. We will swing with the vent, holding back Green Warden in case our opponent gets a 5th land to cast Reality Smasher. That will give us a blocker that can trade with it. And there is the 5th land. And they've had enough. Well, that will be it for this episode of Friday Night Magic, friends. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this. If you have, please leave a like below. It really does help. Come back and join us next week for another episode of Friday Night Magic. And until then, be excellent to each other.